So on the backside, we are multiplying. What? Yeah, it's going to be in the Blue Monday folder. On the backside, we are multiplying the first thing it wants me to do is multiply the two equations. So I am going to multiply 2 square root of x times 6x squared. So the next step I want to do is I want to rewrite the square root of x as x to the 1/2 power. It's called the Chapter 5 review. It's a packet. Okay. With my big numbers, I can multiply those. So 2 times 6 is 12. And then I want to add my exponents. What's 1/2 plus 2? What? Try again. Because 2, I have to multiply by 2 over 2. I said add. I know, but I have to turn them into the same denominator, right? So I have 1/2 plus 4/2. 5/2. Okay, so that's my answer for A. Questions on multiplying them? Then I want to move on to dividing. So f of x goes on top, so the 2 square root of x, and then the 6x squared goes on the bottom. Just like before, I want to rewrite the square root as 1/2. This one I subtract them, yeah. The same denominator, so I have 1/2 minus 2. So I need to multiply by 2 over 2 to turn them into the same base. Then I have 1/2 minus 4/2, which is, I guess I never finished adding up here. Yeah, it'd be, I'll write this down here, negative 3/2. So I can, with my numbers, I can simplify them. What number goes into both 2 and 6? 2. So I have 1 on the top, then I have x to the negative 3/2, and then 3 on the bottom, because 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 times 2/2, because I needed them to have the same denominator to subtract the fractions. No, they didn't. No, the 2 is what I had. I didn't have 2 over 2. Because, yeah, it's 2 over 1. Jerry, you have to listen to other people's questions. That is literally the same question Stephanie asked me. No, she asked me how I got the 4. I didn't get rid of the x, it's still there. I combined them. So when I subtract, I combine them and make them 1x. Okay, and then because I have a negative exponent, it's actually going to move to the bottom of the fraction. So I have 1 on the top, and then 3x to the 3/2 on the bottom. And that's my final answer here. What? Yeah. What negative? Oh, when you move it from top to bottom, it turns positive. What was your question, Stephanie? Yeah, because 2 and 6, they both are divisible by 2. That's where I got the 1/3 from. When I subtracted my exponents, that combined it and made it 1x. And so that's why I only have an x on the top. Because I combined my exponents. When I did the 1/2 minus 2, it gave me negative 3/2, and it made it 1. Any other questions on B? Okay, so for C, I just want to plug in 25 into the f of g equation, or f times g equation. So I have 12, and then in parentheses I'm going to plug in 25. Is it really? I don't know. Would you say? No. You forgot to raise it to the 5/2 power. Yep. Questions on C? So I plug it in the equation, and then I plug it into the calculator. Same thing for D, I'm going to plug in the 81 into the equation. When I type this into the calculator, I have to be careful though. I'm going to cover up C really quick. So I'm going to do 1 divided by, but I want everything to be in one set of parentheses on the denominator, otherwise the calculator is going to think the 81 belongs on top. So I'm going to do 3 parentheses 81, 3 halves, and then, how does that? So it looks kind of weird on the bottom, but the whole bottom is in a set of parentheses on its own. So, and then I just have to hit enter. I should have picked a better number, but oh well. It works out nicer on the test, I promise. So this is 4.57. The little tiny e is scientific notation. It means 10 to the negative 4. But on the test, it should turn into a nice fraction. The e means it's scientific notation, so it's times 10. Yeah. But on the test, you shouldn't get a number like this. If you do something wrong, it should be like, it should be a nice, it's a fraction, but it should be a nicer decimal. Okay. Questions on C or D? Okay. On 25, it wants me to find the inverse of the function, so what I'm going to do is I switch my x and y's. Switch them. Oh man. Okay. Okay. Then I want to work to get y by itself, so the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 4 on both sides. So I have x minus 4, but then I have still 3 cubed root of y minus 2. First thing I want to do is I want to get the radical completely alone, so I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. So then I have x minus 4 over 3. Now I want to cube them. It did not give us enough room. I'm sorry. So on the top, I'm just going to leave it as x minus 4 in parentheses cubed, but I can cube 3. 3 cubed is 27. And then I have it equal to y minus 2. How do I get y alone? That's it. So my answer is going to be x minus 4 cubed over 27 plus 2 equals y. Do it. Kind of. That's how the answer's going to look on the test. What do you mean what happened to the x? It's still there, Jerry. Yeah, if I can actually do like numbers, typically. That's typically when we'll multiply it out. So like if it's a number or like one variable, then I would cube it. But if it's like stuff inside parentheses, I can just leave it like that. No. Because if it'd been x minus 4 plus 3, I would just do my negative 4 plus 3, which would be... You said x minus 4 plus 3. I would do the math on minus 4 plus 3. So it'd be x minus 1. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you find the inverses, that's what you do. You switch the letters. Okay. So then I'm going to do the same thing on number 26. I'm going to start off by adding 3 to both sides. You're right. I switched the x and y. I did not make the test. I don't even know who made it. I think Mr. Booth was the one who made it. I'm sorry. But I did make it on paper, so. Because it was like, I was trying to take the practice test and I was confused. So then I'm going to start off by adding 3 to both sides. I'm going to move 25 off the screen. Divide by 2. So then I get x plus 3 over 2. And then, yes, the next step will be to cube it. So I get x plus 3, parentheses, cube. What's 2 cube? 8. No, because x plus 3 is a polynomial, and you have to do polynomial cubing. So you do x plus 3 times x plus 3. Like, remember? Yeah, it's together, basically. So then, how do I get y all alone? So then I get y equals, parentheses, x plus 3 cubed over 8 minus 7. What size? I was not offered. She needed to write. Oh, I thought you said awkward. I was like, hmm? Questions on 26. No, it just goes straight at the end. Any other questions? Can I move on to 27? That's going to move 26 off the screen. Maybe. Awesome. Okay. I made a typo on the review guide. These should both be having pi's at the end. So basically what this problem is saying, I have the volume of a sphere, and V is the volume, R is the radius. It wants me to find the inverse function and determine the radius for a sphere with the given volume. What I'm going to do is there's no point in finding the inverse. I can just plug this straight in for the volume and solve. So, on number 27, I'm going to have 25 pi equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so on this one I want to work to get r by itself. So, to get rid of the fraction, I multiply by its reciprocal. I drew my parenthesis way too big. Okay, I'm going to multiply by its reciprocal, which is 3/4, because you switch the fraction, and then pi would be on the bottom with the 4. Because I want to get rid of those two at the same time. So, over here, I'm going to also multiply by 3/4 pi. Yeah. So that's why I switch it and make it 3/4 pi. Okay. On the right side, the fraction and the pi's cancel out. On the left side, the pi's will cancel out. Then I want to do 25 times 3/4. No, I'll leave it as a decimal. 18.75 equals r cubed. Huh? I did 3/4 times 25. Yeah, I cube root it. What's the cube root of 18.75? So I'm going to round to 2.66. And this would be my final answer. Why is it frozen? There we go. Questions on 27. 3/4 pi. And then I cancel out my pi's, that's why I looked through. I needed to cancel out the pi's. Yes, we did. It was on one of your homeworks. It's not my fault you don't do your homework. What? You have a question still stuck on here? What? Ah! I always do that. I always put it on the light. So I took my answer and I raised it to the 1/3 power. 18.75. That's what it, when it says A and S, that means answer. Okay. So I could do it, oh, I could do it again. I did 18.75 to the 1/3 power like that. Okay. Yes, it says rounded 2 decimal places. I rounded on this one. Number 28, I do the same thing. It's going to be 350 pi equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So how's my first step? What's my first step to solving? Yeah, multiply by the reciprocal, so 3/4 pi. So what do I get? And then the pi's will cancel out. I'll cross them in red so it's not as confusing. And then on the right side, I just get r cubed. Okay. Then I want to take my cube root to get r by itself. And I get what? 6.40. Questions here? Okay. You understand the very first step, right? I plug it into the equation. Okay. Then I gotta solve for r, right? So what I did was I multiplied by the reciprocal of the fraction, which is, if it's 3/4, I flip it, so it turns into 3/4, and then pi was on the top, so I moved pi to the bottom. From the formula, yeah. Yeah. And then I multiplied it by both sides, the pi's will cancel out, and then I just did, on the calculator, I did 3/4 times 3/4, and it gave me the 262. Yeah. What? F plus g and f minus g have the same exponent. F times g and f divided by g have different exponents. You add the exponents. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Can't let you use those. I have to do the same as everyone else. Any other questions related to the test, but not related to using this on the test? Yes. What? Well, can you tell me the number so I can look? Anything? Yeah, on 23, the adding and subtracting one, they will be the same exponent just like this one. Yeah, the homework when they have different exponents, you just leave them as plus the two different things, you can't combine them. Yeah? Yes. You sure? Okay. Any other questions about the test? About the review? Yeah, there's a practice test on Canvas, but like I said, the real test is going to be on paper. Because the practice test was kind of confusing for me. Yeah, it's tomorrow. And then for the rest of today, I'm going to make it a work day, and I'm going to give you guys your progress reports, like your grades currently right now. I don't know.